fast zoning and localizing, swift tracing and wide testing without missing any cases. This is Vietnam's key strategy in the fight against COVID-19, of which swift tracing continues to be the most crucial component in stemming the spread of the virus.
Nearly 3,000 F1 cases quarantined, more than 22,000 F2 cases traced in 34 outbreaks in Bắc Ninh province. 217 positive cases timely detected in just a short amount of time. This is an example of power of the swift tracing. With this outbreak, tracing tactics have changed, switching from defensive to offensive, in accordance with the Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính direction on pandemic prevention.
Previously, it was only when a positive case was detected that we would carry out anti-pandemic activities. But now, due to the extremely complicated nature of the situation, we have to come up with different plans for possible scenarios. Next, we take samples for large-scale testing, which means not only for close contact cases, but also for high-risk areas.
Currently, the contact tracing of people who have tested positive for SARS-CoV-2 continues to be carried out through the following 5 steps. First, identifying high-risk areas and events, which involves the locations or events that infected people have been to from a period of 3 days prior to the onset of symptoms and to the patient's medical isolation. Notifying local authorities of these areas and events to trace F1 contacts. Third, deploying F1 tracing. Fourth, review and finalize F1 lists. And finally, organize isolation and sample collection.
The first is concept of the generation of the contacts, such as F0, F1, F2, F3. That makes the contact tracing more quickly and then more effectively and then acceptable. Second is Vietnam, many innovative new IT technology. I'm sure contact tracing in Vietnam is one of the world class.
According to experts, speed is the #1 requirement for tracing due to the rapid spread of new strains. In many cases, F1 cases can quickly turn into F0 in just a few days. And there are even cases where F2 can also become F0.
Because many cases are related to various provinces, tracing must be done quickly and must keep up with the speed of the disease's spread. This time, Vietnam's tracing experience is much better, as we can also trace cases via information technology.
According to the Hanoi CDC, the biggest current challenge in tracing is the shortened infection cycle for new strains with only 2 or 3 days instead of 5 to 6 days. This means that if F1 cases do not submit their medical declarations early and honestly, they could become new source of infection for the community after just a few days.
The first difficulty is that the patient's travel schedule is complicated. Sometimes they do not remember all their schedules, and also for some personal reasons, they are not honest in their medical declaration. But just one case that does not fully report can cause others to get infected and lead to big losses for the economy and, most importantly, heightens the risk of community infection.
With the number of new infections increasing every day and the complexity of newly emerging strains, tracing, which is already difficult and dangerous, now more than ever requires the cooperation and awareness of the community so that it can continue to be an effective weapon against the pandemic.